is the way you look at yourself. If you go to Romans 6, I do counseling and I take people with sexual struggles to Romans 6. Because Romans 6 puts it into context. It's talking about our new birth. And it is telling us practically what we have done. When we are baptized into Christ, we are baptized into his death and we are raised into a new life. And what should we do? And Romans 6 in Paul says, look at verse 12. Therefore, do not let sin reign in your mortal body, that you should obey it in its lusts. Do not present your members as instruments of unrighteousness. It's talking about your body parts. Let me change my version here from New King James to NIV, which gives. Therefore, do not let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its evil desires. Do not offer any part of yourself to sin as an instrument of wickedness, but rather offer yourselves to God as those who have been brought from death to life, and offer every part of yourself to him as an instrument of righteousness. For sin shall no longer be your master, because you're not under the law but under grace. What Paul is saying, before you became a Christian, you live under sin's mastership or tyranny, and you gave your body parts to fulfill your sinful desire. Now that you become a child of God, a Christian born again, raised your new life, now give your body parts to God as instruments of righteousness. Not unrighteousness before, but as righteousness. Have you ever thought of committing your body parts, your private parts, to the Lord? I had a student at a college in Indiana where I worked for a number of years. Came to me and he said, I'm tired, I need to see you. And he came by my apartment. He said, I'm tired of every time I go visit my girlfriend, I come back with my pants wet. Said, your pants is wet? How does that happen? Are you having sex with your girlfriend? He said, no, we lie on top of each other and we rub against each other until I ejaculate in my pants. I said, it's not a sin. He says, I don't think God approves, but I don't think he disapproves. Wait a minute here. God does not approve, but he doesn't disapprove? Where does that leave God? I said, you need to commit and surrender and consecrate your body parts to the Lord, your hands, your genitals, and you need to go pray with your girlfriend and tell her to go to her private place and do the same thing. It changed his life. Transformed his life. For the first time in his life, he realized that God was interested in his sex life. That God wanted and designed him to behave in a particular way sexually, and that he needed to consecrate his genitals to the Lord. But we tend to say, that's my thing and I want to use it my way. God says, not so. Every part of you must be given to me. Christianity is not about compartmentalizing our lives, and we have one compartment for our church life, and one compartment for our work life, and another for our home life, and certainly another for our sexual life. No, no, no. It's all or nothing with God.
Reach it, brother.
It's all or nothing. And we have to be willing to go to our bathroom, our bedrooms, and consecrate our genitals. Strip yourself naked before God and say, God, I come to you naked, both symbolically and physically. I'm all yours. And here are my hands, here are my feet, here are my lips, here are my eyes, and certainly here are my genitals. I consecrate them to you, wholly as unto you from this day forward. It changes young man's life. That was his victory. Never happened again. Because he realized that he must give his private parts to the Lord and not keep them for his own titillation and excitement and the desires and the lusts of his flesh. But that God wanted to be pleased with his sex life. And the way for God to do that is to have sex in marriage. But not only have sex in marriage, you must have sex in marriage in a way that glorifies God. Because not every marital sex is glorifying to God either. When I hear about married people tying down one another in bed and beating one another with whips and belts and chains and pushing up dildos in all